This little segment of, is it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or is it the Rock and Roll
Hall of Shame?
Hall of Shame?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a subject that keeps coming up. I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when it first, I think the first year of that institution was, I believe, 1981. I don't know.
That sounds like it could be right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Watch your hand. The train's coming. No, yeah. Well, I have this train here. This is I'm trying to be a little sarcastic here. In my opinion, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a train wreck. What do you think? Train wreck?
I don't quite agree. I think it could be better, but I'm not like really a purist. I don't think all the genres blend into each other. And I thought the last group of inductees are really good. I mean, I'm not crazy about Def Leppard, and maybe Stevie Nicks didn't have to be as a solo artist, but I thought that all of them should have been in. Roxy Music should have been a long time ago. Radiohead's a great band, one of the best bands around now. And also the Zombies, one of the last really great British invasion bands that aren't in there.
Oh, definitely. But the reason I brought up 1981, it was a good thing back then. It was neat because not only did they display rock artists, but they displayed the roots of the rock artists. They influences, like Hank Williams Sr. He's on my wall here, and B.B. King and Roy Orbison and Billie Holiday and Robert Johnson, and we go over here. We have Fats Domino. So that I think was a good thing. Other people thought that wasn't a good thing, but I'm sticking with the good thing.
The Cure should be in too.
Who?
The Cure should be in.
Yeah. But I think now, in my opinion, I've analyzed this because I've watched it over the years.
Yeah.
I think it started to suck around 2000, 2001. Now, I don't know. Was it because millennials took it over, or was it because corporate takeover, or?
Well, I think that they fired a lot of the people that were experts in the early rock and roll. I think they felt that they got most of them in already. Mm-hmm. There are some people I like which aren't in there, but they're from the early days. But I think they feel like they hit a lot of the major early figures. But who do you think should be in that? The early guys.
It's ridiculous. First, I'll start with Pinetop Smith. He actually kind of was. I don't know if he exactly was the one who invented that style of boogie woogie piano, but he's definitely. I mean, the dates. It was like 1920. I think he wrote Pine Top Shuffle, Boogie Woogie Shuffle. It's like now. I think that's the first recognizable rock and roll. Although there were no guitars, there were no drums, but there was a rhythm there. And that spinned off into to jump blues, swing jazz, and just R&B, and then that all came together with old school country, and we had rock and roll. But Pinetop Smith, definitely. And then the New York Dolls. The MC5, who you and me had the pleasure of seeing Wayne Kramer and his recent MC50 tour.
Yeah.
Come on, I mean, here. How did Green Day get in before? How did Metallica get in before Judas Priest? Okay, how did what's the band Nirvana get in before Thin Lizzy? You could go on and on and on.
I think that Judas Priest is kind of a pure heavy metal, and also Green Day is kind of pop punk. And I do like Green Day, but I think that
I like Green Day too.
They go down easier than the Damned or some of the other or Black Flag. I think for somebody who's not a punk fan, they sound more melodic and catchy.
Yeah. I mean, I like Green Day, but it's like, how could they get in before like a lot of these legendary punk bands?
They sold 1 million more albums.
The Dead Boys? Before the Dead Boys?
I think that they're going to bring in a bigger audience for the show. I mean, I agree that a lot of other people that are more important weren't nominated or put in, but they balance the critical acclaim and influence with commercial appeal, I think, putting people in. And people that are both critically acclaimed and popular in America have a much bigger shot than.
Green Day gets in before Cheap Trick. I just don't see that, you know.
I think the New York Dolls should be in, definitely.
The New York Dolls should be in.
And even though they influenced one of my least favorite genres, hair metal, glam metal, you know, a lot of bands copied that, like, but
I call that sleaze metal.
yeah, they also influenced punk a lot, but they only had 2 albums in their heyday, and they were nominated about the same time as the other punk bands, but they didn't get enough votes. And maybe the MC5 will still get in. I hope they do. I think they're a little jazzier than New York Dolls. New York Dolls have more girl group and soul influences.
No, I like Nirvana, but how did Nirvana get in before all these punk bands?
Well, Nirvana changed music in America in a way the Buzzcocks or X-Ray Specs or Wire didn't. They opened the floodgates and a million alternative bands came in. So even though the recorded output might not match some other new wave people or punk people, I think that they changed music more than they did.
But Kurt Cobain, you know, he always talked about how he was influenced by both punk and metal. And I think that's kind of what grunge was, because back in the day, in the 70s, I wasn't this way. I liked both.
Yeah.
Okay, but there was this division where, you know, you're into this, you're not supposed to be into this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a reaction to that,
Yeah.
which is kind of stupid. But in 1990, right around 1991,
Yeah.
Sonic Youth and Nirvana and all those bands kind of, well, not so much Sonic Youth bringing punk and metal together, but mainly Nirvana. You would go to a show and you'd see mohawks right next to metalheads with you know studs and stuff, and it was great. You had everybody together. There was no more divisions, you know, between those. And now Motorhead. Hello, why is Motorhead not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Lemmy was once asked, "Is Motorhead punk or metal?" He goes, "It's a bloody fucking rock and roll band, mate." It kind of was, because in England they had 2 charts. They had the punk charts and the metal charts, and Motorhead was on both.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what's really cool about Motorhead.
Motorhead's a really good band. I also like Hawkwind.
Hawkwind, yeah.
But they're really obscure, and their cult is so small, I don't think they're ever going to get in.
You know, we could make this show also called Bands That XRT Never Plays.
Yeah, that's true.
But we'll keep it Rock and Roll Hall of Fame theme.
Yeah. But I like Motorhead. Like, I actually probably have a bias against metal myself. Originally I liked Alice in Chains and Soundgarden a lot less than Nirvana, Mudhoney, and Pearl Jam, because they're less punk and more metal. But because of grunge, I like metal a little more now. I like to see Soundgarden get in. I think Chris Cornell is a really interesting vocalist. I like that Temple of the Dog thing he did, you know, early on. You know, but Sonic Youth is a really interesting band, and I think they're more innovative than most of the grunge bands.
Yeah.
The guitar work, there's more no wave or punk jazz in their sound.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned
More avant-garde. Great videos too.
I mentioned Judas Priest. Metallica got in before Judas Priest. That's a crime. Judas Priest and Saxon and Iron Maiden, all those bands from the late 70s, early 80s, they were still rock and roll. I mean, you still had the blues in it, okay? I mean, Living After Midnight. That guitar solo is totally bluesy. You know, and the rhythm is like party music. It's rock. It's hard rock / heavy metal. Okay, it's kind of like the new bastard son of rock and roll. Punk was one, and heavy metal was one. But I think after Metallica, there was a new type of metal that was just metal. They kind of divorced itself from the rock and roll family somewhat, you know. I mean, it's still related, but I didn't like how bands just started calling themselves heavy metal and not rock and roll / heavy metal. But yeah. Now I'm not really into the Slipknot the growling stuff, because it kind of like sounds repetitive, and you can't understand anything he's saying. I'm sorry. I guess that's where I may be too old to.
I saw a spin-off band of them called, I think, Dirty Little Rabbits. And I kind of liked them.
Oh, really? Were they growling?
It wasn't pure metal. And they had a female singer, and they all wore top hats. But I never heard of them again. I don't know if it's a drummer or bass player that formed it with a female singer. But I like Tool a little better.
Yeah.
And they make really good videos.
Yeah.
But you were saying something about Judas Priest and we're talking about genres, and one time David Bowie was on MTV, and he talked about how they'll play the exact same music by a white band, but not a black band.
Yeah, I saw that.
And like David Bowie,
Keep talking. I'm just gonna check this over here.
I mean, David Bowie's "Let's Dance" is essentially disco. Mel Rogers affected the sound of the song, I think, more than Bowie. He's from Chic, so I don't think you just separate rock and disco and soul and funk. You don't need to put rock in because they all kind of influence each other.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a big objection to Janet Jackson,
Right.
because she's a kind of an important figure, and for a while she was better than her brother. She didn't just get in because she's Michael Jackson's sister. She made better albums for a while, I think, and she made really good videos. And they got to put some of the MTV people in too, not just the pre-MTV rockers, which that's what they've been doing. They've been ignoring, Depeche Mode and New Order. Those are important bands.
Joy Division.
Joy Division is a great band.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there'd be a U2 without Joy Division.
Yeah. Yeah. I could go on and on about the Devo.
Devo's really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How could that be?
But they got nominated, and they only got nominated once. Maybe they'll get in after a while. I mean, they do have kind of an interesting visual look, and they're known by a lot of people, at least because of Whip It. And they have a lot of other interesting stuff too. And they made really innovative videos.
They were very intelligent.
I think they're going to get in eventually.
One interesting thing about Devo is that they saw the future back in the late 70s.
Yeah.
And they kept saying, we're already in the 80s. This is 79, we're already in the 80s. In fact, we're probably in the 90s.
Yeah.
They saw the future. That song, Freedom of Choice, and Devolution. That we have devolved here in 2016 when America took 100 steps backwards after taking a bold leap forward.
Yeah.
But things are coming around, blue wave and all, but not to go too far into that. But yeah, they were very intelligent, and then people saw them and thought they were ridiculous, weren't listening to what they were saying.
They're really good ironic pop song.
Yeah.
And even their version of Satisfaction is really
really good.
And they could have just done it the same as the Stones, and even the Stones liked it.
Yeah.
They said that Jagger was dancing around when he
Right.
it. But the only thing about Devo though is, I think some of the German bands were better that influenced them. Like
Kraftwerk's not in.
But I like Can and Neu. And
they were
Faust.
from Germany, right?
Yeah, and Faust. They're all German.
Yeah.
And they really influenced post-punk and Public Image and Joy Division. Pierre Ubu did too. I think none of those bands probably have a chance to get in, except maybe Kraftwerk eventually. But the Rock Hall of Fame is very Americentric. There should be more bands from other countries.
Right.
I would like to see Bjork get in.
Yeah. I've always been a Superfan fan.
Yeah, and I don't know, some of the English bands that are more popular in England than America, like T-Rex.
T-Rex
should be in.
There you go.
Not the Hoople.
Yeah, I'm a Foghat fan. They played at my high school in 1978.
Yeah.
Their style was kind of like making the blues new again. They were taking they almost sound like the guitar playing of Rod Price was like almost like Shaft, shut your mouth, So they were doing something cool. Now is Sly Stone in?
Yeah, Sly and the Family Stone got in quite a while ago.
Yeah, right.
But there's some other funk guys like Rufus, and I'm trying to think who else.
The Meters aren't in.
I like War.
Oh yeah.
And they combine jazz and funk.
They were great.
And they're multiracial, multicultural. They're the band that reflects America the most in terms of composition, and they're really street. They had a lot of songs about poverty and they're socially conscious, and they don't quite fit in the rock and roll genre totally, but they're better than some of the, I would rather hear them than Def Leppard or Bon Jovi.
Oh, I cringe when I hear it. Def Leppard had two good albums back in 1980, was it? 81. And then when they came out, was it that one? Oh, you're my photograph. Oh my God, those vocals are horrible. I can't. Oh God,
I'm not saying they're terrible, but it's just that there's a million better bands, and they're really slick and corporate, and there's no rough edges. When I went to Italy a few weeks ago, the first thing I heard in the airport was a Def Leppard song. It's kind of sad that, you know, you go to a different country and even though rock and roll is great, I mean, they should have their own music and culture.
We're